Hello there, welcome to the channel. This is Nerd.World. Today I'm doing another one of my compilations. I was gonna do full breakdowns on a lot of these ships, and probably at some point I will, but I wanted to do 6 of my favourite non-Starfleet Federation ships. Watching episodes of Discovery recently made me sort of think about it. Now, annoyingly, I can't use a lot of them because they're actually from races that aren't part of the Federation, like the United Earth of that time period. But there has been quite a lot of ships pop up over the years that are not Starfleet, but still, say, human or from one of the other Federation races, particularly in Enterprise. Now, unusually for me, I'm going to include some non-canon, or at least one non-canon ship, which I bloody love and really like, and I just thought, bugger it, it's going on my list. Now, as I said, I probably will do full breakdowns of these ships some point in the future, but at the moment I'm just doing them as a list of 6 awesome non-Starfleet Federation vessels. Before I get started, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you like it, and let's just get started with number 6. Now, to stress this is not in any particular order, this is just 6 ships I like. Okay, starting at number 6, we have the YClass Earth cargo ships. This is only featured in one episode of Star Trek Enterprise, but is a huge vessel. When you see the Enterprise next to it, it's gigantic. These vessels are purpose-built, probably the first true deep space vessels humans ever built, going off to trade with other races. Now, the vessels were slower than Warp 2 and took years, in some cases, to reach their destinations, or at least were buzzing around in deep space for years at a time before returning to Earth, if they ever returned to Earth in some cases. These vessels were crewed by civilians, not by Starfleet, who were licensed by the Earth Cargo Authority, which was more of an overseeing body, meaning these crews often owned their ships, or at least the captains or command staff probably did. Some of them may have been owned by corporations, but the one we see was probably owned by its commanding officer. I love this design. It's nice, it's simple, it's warp capable, it's very functional. They're only lightly armed with plasma cannons, usually a stock form only with 2, but they're capable of being upgraded with additional weapons at a later date. And they have no shield, but they do have polarized hull plating, although be it very limited. So these vessels ain't great in a fight, but they're a freighter, they're not really meant to be. And my next choice, a bit of a broad one. I didn't want to pick a specific vessel, as I will do specific vessel breakdowns at a later date, but I'm going to pick Section 31 vessels, just in general, because they're fucking cool ships. These intelligence vessels are a combination of observation craft, listening ship, and warship, all rolled into one. You can tell by their bridge design, which isn't exactly a traditional Starfleet layout. In no means are these vessels Starfleet controlled. Remember, Section 31, although it is a splinter group from Starfleet, it is technically a Federation agency, not a specifically Starfleet one. It's actually pre-Federation, as it existed before the formation of the Federation. But they do build these very cool ships with stealth capabilities. Now, the vessels we see in Discovery actually use holographic projectors, much like the Romulan warbirds of the 22nd century, which did make me wonder if they borrowed the technology from the Romulans or somehow emulated it, instead of using out-and-out cloaking devices. We also, I'm going to include it, the USS Vengeance, because although this vessel is called USS Vengeance and stuff, its crew are clearly not Starfleet. They don't wear Starfleet uniforms, and as Scotty puts it, are they, civilian contractors or something? And they're actually, obviously, Section 31 personnel. This vessel was not ever really intended to be run by Starfleet. They may have used Starfleet resources to get it built, but they didn't intend Starfleet to use it. And I just love all these ships because of how unique they are and how different to the rest of Starfleet ships they are. Because you can tell sort of the reaction. The Discovery and her crew don't even know the capabilities of these ships. They might be all one happy Federation, but they're not one happy fleet. These vessels are used for completely different, more nefarious purposes, and they're simply not familiar with their capabilities. And we never really know their full capabilities anyway, which adds to their interest, because they can do pretty much every your imagination can tell you they can do. It's likely Section 31 has access to technologies that are not allowed to be used by Starfleet, which just makes them all cooler to me. Next, I'm picking every ship the Vulcans use. Vulcan ships are just cool. They've obviously took the ring ship design, which was designed as an original concept for the Enterprise, which has been sort of seen here and there popping around the Star Trek franchise for years, but they've sort of retconned it, so probably humans were just mimicking that design. And I love the ring ship designs in general they use, and the Vulcan vessels, as I said, they're cool. Now you do see some Vulcan ships in the 24th century and in the 23rd century that aren't as good, but although technically these are pre-Federation, so is the NX-01, these ships will have existed within the Vulcan Navy after the formation of the Federation, and they're very cool. I particularly like this ship, which has the large ring and this sort of module between the rings, which is actually a smaller ship that can detach and operate independently of the larger vessel, a bit like a massive captain's yacht, which I really like. These designs, as I said, are very cool. They're very elegant, very curvy, very organic, but also very efficient and functional vessels. It's very Vulcan to be both aesthetic and functional at the same time, and I love all of them. My next pick is the non-canon HMS Icarus. Now, I actually debated whether or not to include this, but I decided I bloody love this ship. It appeared in the fan film Star Trek Renegades, which stars a lot of the former Star Trek cast and was made by Tim Russ and his production studio as an independently produced Star Trek movie and possible pilot for a show that never got picked up. The concept is great, the ship is a beautiful design and shows what Federation tech can do if fully unleashed. This went, like, the Defiant class went so far, this went even further. The firepower and capabilities of the ship are unmatched. You see it just lay waste to a Klingon battlecruiser, you see it easily escaping and evading Starfleet ships, it's got a cloaking device, hollow emitters on every deck. It's just a thing of beauty, a warship of maneuvering and speed and capability which is just, as I say, unmatched in anything else in the Federation. Now, my interpretation was this pirate ship, as it's sometimes referred to, controlled by the granddaughter of Khan Singh, was, in my opinion, my interpretation anyway, was it was probably a Section 31 ship as well. They're the only organisation that would have had the resources and technology at hand to build such an advanced vessel. I can't imagine civilian engineers within the Federation having the access to the kind of weapons and technology this ship carries. There's simply no way. I know it's got adapted alien technology like Klingon disruptors and things like that, which are just aftermarket add-ons, but in its original form, clearly this was something built by the Federation, probably by Section 31. If not originally by them, then it was heavily modified by them. I know in the storyline lore the vessel has a class and everything, but I can't see Starfleet building this thing. In my opinion, it's only my opinion, Section 31 must have built it. So I was actually tempted to put it in my Section 31 list as probably a Section 31 ship, as Section 31 features as part of the storyline in Star Trek Renegades, which, by the way, if you've not seen, go and watch it as soon as you've watched this, because it is well worth a watch. And there we have the HMS Icarus. Beautiful design, powerful ship, tough little ship. Our penultimate vessel is the SS Raven. Now, I'll be honest, before anyone says it, I'm not 100% sure this is genuinely not a Starfleet ship, or if it was an ex-Starfleet vessel, as it is once, I believe, stated in Voyager that the Hansons leased it from the Federation's Science Council. Now, whether or not that means it was actually a Starfleet vessel which is loaned out to civilian use, or is a separate agency vessel. I always presumed it was a separate agency ship, if not a vessel directly owned by the Hansons themselves, as it kind of looks like a space camper, doesn't it? The family camper go on a vacation with. It's got amenities and everything else that are in keeping more with a vessel, which was a family ship and a sort of, like I say, the family RV, than necessarily a vessel built for exploration and science. It's somewhere between transport and starship, and I just could never really pin it down. It looks like a Starfleet ship, sort of a runabout on steroids, but I do really like the design. Again, it's very functional. It's basically a box with engines with a bridge to control it, and you'd use it for whatever you want to use it for. Now, the Federation does have civilian ships, clearly, and this to me screams a vessel built for civilian use, just for long-range civilian use, but civilian scientific use, maybe used by organizations like the Daystrom Institute or whatever. Either way, it's a lovely little ship that's a very efficient design, and it fits well into the universe, and the few times it cropped up in Voyager, I thought I really liked it. I thought it was a good design, a good ship. So I'm including it, whether it is genuinely a civilian ship or not. Or non-Starfleet vessel or not, should I say. The final ship on my list is the Festoon. A vessel that was never actually named on screen, but was named later by the designers at a convention. It appeared in Season 1 of Discovery and is owned by Harcourt Fenton Mudd's father-in-law, Stella's dad's personal, glorious cruise ship. This massive, ostentatious space yacht that you only see a fleeting glimpse of. Now, there is a whole Eaglemoss model of it, which I don't have, but I would really like, but I don't own. And it's fantastically bonkers. It has a sort of a look of the Discovery era Starfleet-esque design. So my interpretation was it's a custom-built ship, probably not a production line vessel. And assume, as it's a type of space yacht for the super rich, it was custom-built. Things like that great big gold cat that's on the hood of the vessel, and things like that tell me it's not. Now, I don't know if it's armed or not, although it does have these sort of turret-like emplacements down the sides that do make me wonder if those are gun turrets. They might not be. They could also be antennas. There's no real unknown. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really looked it up. I may do a full breakdown on this in the future. This is just my observation of it. In fact, I probably will do a full breakdown of it in the future. I've considered it before. I just haven't got to it yet. But I really like it, and because I like the idea of non-Starfleet ships. I like to see the broader universe of Star Trek every now and again, rather than just seeing the hero ship running around. And it was nice to see, even just for a fleeting second, something big, something different, and something civilian. Where are the rich in the 23rd century anyway? They must still exist. Not everyone will have completely abandoned the idea of currency, etc. So here's an example of that, and I really like it for that, for what it shows, that there is another side to the Federation, a greedy, corporate, wealthy, entitled side of it that is ostentatious and egotistical enough to build themselves a great big yacht to zoop around the galaxy in, and for that I liked it. So that's my list. My Federation non-Starfleet ships. And as I said, I don't know about the Raven, whether it genuinely is a Starfleet vessel or not. Interpretation was that it wasn't, but not sure. But that's my list all the same. It's in it. Deal with it. Tell me in the comments below if I am completely wrong and it actually is a Starfleet vessel. It might be, to be fair, but I don't really care. But whatever. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you think. Other vessels that I've missed. I know there are many other civilian ships that I've not covered, as well as any other alien vessels like Andorian ships and such things I've not included that were clearly Federation, but not Starfleet. So with that said, thanks for watching if you made it all the way to the end of the video, and bye bye.